Abusuan yini komo ewo chano yiso. Chano some say how say age politics avenue. Onya podcast also trending because making headlines. And ya jembre na it be exumo breaking news. Yen jembre na yemfa bi exumo. Onya ensema eboba efa eye pakwasi indium. Na so eye na ne nyina ne se eye court of appeal. Ene omu ekopie mu ewo eye court of appeal. Na onya papa no wate asemde ene a court of appeal ashe a Bank of Ghana by unanimous decision say ne lances a ne banking lances a GN bank no yen sign emfanade ema no na ni asset bia wo hwere ye aban no a wotwa no na nadodan kwa akuf ado ede ne nsa eto so a eye bank ne dia no ni nyina yemfa ema eye pakosi indiuma me no kasai eye asemda enye asem koto akra na mesrok say yembo enwura eye wono ankasa na so eye abra o free court ho epie no the lawyer agimre ekasaye.
What will be your immediate reaction?
First, let the council say something. Well, so the court of appeal said the decision that the Bank of Ghana took to the license is wrong. And so they ordered the bank to reinstate the license. The receiver is now in charge of the bank and all its assets. The receiver was also ordered to hand over all the assets to the bank, to the bank. And the management also will return back to the bank immediately. And so we will take the necessary steps to get the judgment and force.
What will be the next steps after this?
Well, the next steps is that we need to file an intro document to the university so that we still the court processes to get the document. Well, it's been a difficult, very, very difficult 7 years. We want to thank family. We want to thank all of our employees. We've had some very, very, very loyal, hardworking employees who have stood with us all these years. And definitely we give thanks to the Almighty for keeping us healthy enough to be where we are. Because this has been a very, very tough, very difficult time that we have gone through. It's just unimaginable. There's a lot to say, but not today. At the appropriate time, we will hold a press conference to go through what we have experienced and the difficulties moving forward. What I want to say also is that we are in a very good political environment. That environment has brought about a wind of change, and we are expecting that with the license restored, that we will now play our part in making sure that this country achieves the level of prosperity that is needed. There are just too many difficulties. Some people have died. Some have lost their jobs. Assets have been destroyed. Many things we will not get back. But what we promise is that we will restore this company, we will restore our business, and we will make certain that our second coming is even better than the first one. So, thank you very much.
Fighting this issue in court has been back and forth. The last one was the High Court taking a decision that what the Bank of Ghana did wasn't the right direction. They took the case up to an appeals court, and that has been the ruling. Also, if you don't forget that there was a receiver that was appointed to try and look at this whole process. I mean, the receiver had been having a real hard time trying to touch the assets of GNC because at any time that receiver moves, there's an appeal or more of an application filed in court trying to stop that process from going on. So it's been a back and forth as we speak right now. And this has been the ruling from the appeals court as we speak right now.
And following that ruling, have we heard from the central bank and even government?
I mean, even before we go ahead to what they are saying now, let's backtrack a little bit. And the governor in several engagements when this question was asked that made that argument that he cannot do anything about it unless there is a court ruling. The people who are in administration right now, being the current administration, pre-position, give that signal that when they come to power, they will look at the situation and work to restore the license. We have been engaging people at the Bank of Ghana as we speak right now on this issue. The argument is that they are studying the ruling first as we speak right now, and that would influence any action that they will take going forward.
And George, thankfully, we do have banking consultant, Dr. I beg your pardon, Nana Utwi Champong. It's been a long while, sir, and good to see you. And of course, he joins us via phone for us to have this conversation. Surprised at this ruling, or was he expected?
In the sense that the law works, and therefore, if that's what the court has ruled at this second stage, we go by it. But I think it's not been exhausted yet, because when the ruling first came in the High Court, the indication was that they will go to appeal. Now, appeal has ruled in along these lines, and my presumption is that it may travel to the Supreme Court. So it will be at that stage that the whole thing will have to be analyzed. But the information that we have when this thing started was that they used Section 123 of Act 930, which is the Banks and Specialized Deposit Taking Institutions Act, which gave power to Bank of Ghana to do what they did. But then the court overruled, and therefore it has to be accepted until we go to the apex court, and then their final judgment will be what we will go by as players of the industry.
So do I get the impression that you are suggesting that after the central bank has gone through the ruling and, of course, studied the ruling, it may quickly rush to the appeal, the Supreme Court to appeal this ruling? Is that the case?
That's my greatest suspicion, that they may have to get the final ruling from the Supreme Court, because it's gone through two stages now. First, it was at the High Court, then an appeal came, and therefore, until they get to the Supreme Court, it's premature to draw any inferences from what has happened.
But I know to talk to us about the implication of this on the savings and loan sector and other institutions.
Well, as you know, it wasn't only GN savings and loans that was affected. There was quite a number of them, both at the universal bank level, at savings and loans level, finance houses level, and even coming down to microfinance. The only sector that was not affected was rural banks. They were ring-fenced. And therefore, if these rulings stand, no two court cases are the same anyway. The others that, Section 123 affected them, they also want to follow suit and then see if they can have their licenses restored. So I think it's got a very extensive implication for the financial services sector.
And for the purposes of education, when we say that the Supreme Court in this case has restored the license or directed the BoG to restore the license of GN savings and loans, what is that supposed to mean? Is that to say that in the next couple of months we should see them operating? Is that the case?
If there's no stay of execution to pending a Supreme Court ruling, then that's what will have to happen, that the central bank will therefore have to restore the license, and then GN savings and loans can set up in business. But this is not the first time. Earlier in the last year, we had another ruling for Ideal Finance, where their license was restored. But as we speak, we don't know what has helped them up in having been restored. We don't know what has helped them up for setting up again. So therefore, we have to, have patience and wait for the final ruling on GN savings and loans and see what happens. But in practice, once the Supreme Court, a court has said that your license should be restored, then it has to be up to Bank of Ghana to go through the rudiments of making sure that the license is restored.
And how long will this take?
Oh, that one is, how long is it? Yeah, it can take as long as the Bank of Ghana will need to take, because they have to do quite a lot of due diligence issues, because the But the same Bank of Ghana is the one who withdrew the license. So now, if they are being ordered by a court to restore it, they'll go through the process and then restore it. But I can't tell, I'm not a lawyer, as to whether it will take a month, 2 months, 6 months, or a year.
But in the event that the central bank decides not to pursue this matter again, do you think GN Savings and Loans has the muscle to bounce back?
I should think so, because other than that, the shareholders wouldn't have pursued. So having, worked out their mathematics, they think that they have the muscle and they'll be able to come back. But incidentally, only this morning, a news item came from the Minister of Finance that institutions like that, where the Gold Coast securities, where people lost their savings, the government hasn't got money to pay back the monies that were lost. So if GN Bank is ready and the Supreme Court rules in their favor, then I'm sure they should be able to come back into business. So their buildings and things are all there.
All right. Very finally on this, there's been some political tweak to the issue. Do you think that in some way government is allowing this to happen? We know that Justice Ramsay previously was the...
No, I don't do politics on this.
All right.
This is purely on the banking financial service issue. So I leave the politicians to do the politics on it. Yes.
Thank you very much, Nano Tuichampo, banking consultant. Always a delight speaking to you here on The Marketplace. Let's take a breather. We'll be right back.
Not because I hated Akufo-Addo, neither was I campaigning for you as others constructed it. I lived that freedom under your presidency. I believed in your tolerance, your quest to see an atmosphere of free speech, and when you were the target of toxic vitriol. This is why I feel ashamed about what is happening now. It is as if we are in a military regime. Mr. President, this is a blot in your presidency. A severe dent in your high reputation as a friend of the media and guardian of free speech. This is not the President Mahama I know. The Mahama whose high tolerance of free speech I could vouch for. This is Manasseh Azuri Awuni telling the President that 1.5 years into his administration, he's ashamed of him. 1.5 years into your administration, he's not proud of him. So we know the what. The what is that the people who have done it, that the freedom of speech is under serious threat and strain. The fact that the Peace Council had the right to issue a statement, we call that agenda setting in public policy studies. It's an acknowledgement of a problem. The moment the Peace Council says that we have seen tension rise due to this thing, agenda set, they have told you that we have acknowledged a problem. And that problem here is that freedom of speech is under threat. So we know the what. We know the what. The question is why? Why is it happening? The government is lashing out. The government feels frustrated. The government feels that the walls are closing in. And what you are seeing is that frustration, is that lashing out. If you go to my Joy online today, there's a story. 2028, Jocelyn would save NDC if Bahama government fails Felix Owusu-Kwachi. 1.5 years into your administration, you're already afraid that Jocelyn will not save your job. Before Felix Owusu-Kwachi made this, it was Mustafa Bandi who said a similar thing, that look, whatever you are doing, the Jocelyn, the infighting into the system. He even went ahead to attack Global Info Analytics, saying that their research is causing confusion and divisions within the NDC. And finally, it was the national chairman of the NDC who is going around 1.5 years to administration, telling Ghanaians that they should not take the promises and words of Dr. Bawumia that he will save them. Dr. Bawumia has not even started campaigning. He has not even started making any promises. He hasn't. Meanwhile, you're already afraid of him or afraid of what he's saying. So the why, and that is why I'm coming to the why. The why is because the NDC is waking up to a serious realization that two things are happening simultaneously. That members of the government have taken their eyes off the ball. They are not focusing on governing. They are not focusing on what? Materializing the Women Development Bank. When was the last time you heard about it? They are not focusing on operationalizing the 24-hour economy. When have you heard about it? They are not focusing on improving the lives, the poor, wretched lives of cocoa farmers, of maize farmers in Tumu, in Chalang, in Wellington, and Sesala East. They are not focused on improving the lives of rice farmers in Upper East, in Northeast, in the Northern region. They are not focused on improving the lives of farmers, of poultry farmers, and all these people. And the farmers are hitting back. Their MPs are hearing the woes and cries and pathologies of farmers. Their grassroots are complaining. As their national chairman is campaigning all over the country, wherever he goes, he hears this first hand from NDC members. And you see, that is what is unique about this case. The frustrations and the anger is coming from the NDC foot soldiers themselves, who believe that they have been misled or they have been failed. So what you are now seeing that the government is trying to look for loose targets. They are looking for hanging fruits to attack. They are trying to shift the attention of the country from looking at the dangers, from looking at the disappointments, from looking at the massive failures. They are rather saying, look there, don't look here. They are rather looking, they are weaponizing these laws to make sure that they frustrate, suppress, and cow members of the NPP and other ordinary citizens into docility and into what? Fear and panic. It doesn't work. There's something you know about the NPP. Somebody said that the NPP is better and does well when it is under stress, when it is under pressure. The NPP does better when it feels the whole might of the state against it. That's how they succeeded under Jerry John Rawlings. That's how they succeeded, and the tradition didn't die under the obnoxious laws of Kwame Nkrumah and other people. The point I'm making a very good point. There's no opposition in the world who does worth their soul that will crumble because of state pressure and state persecution. What the NDC is doing is bad and it's wicked. Let's join the Manasseh Azure Awene. Let's join the Samson Ladi Ayenenis. People have said it, and it's true. Some of this has happened and Akufo-Addo did. Azure Awene says that. I will not sit here and pretend it didn't happen. It happened. A lot. Some of them happened. The numbers are there. Then the question then people there are asking is, and that is what has made Awene to say that he's ashamed of the president. Because he believed that the president was Mahama was more tolerant. He believed that there would have been a reset. But what he's saying is that not only is there no reset immediate freedom, it's getting progressively worse. And that is what scares him. That is what should scare you. If it doesn't scare you, because this thing is some way. Yesterday, Abronya was a very powerful regional chairman. Nobody could touch him. Am I lying? Yesterday, he was a very powerful regional chairman and a board chairman or a board member. You couldn't touch Abronya. Today, Abronya is sleeping in police cells. BNI cells. Today, Abronya is there. The family says that he has not eaten. The family says that his health is weakening. Today, Abronya has been reduced to a prisoner of the state. And that is the what power is. It's so transparent. Today, you are that powerful, overpowering. Tomorrow, and we've seen this movie again and again. So please, dear apologies of this brutal, regressive regime. Dear apologies of the people whose only defense is to make a false equivalency. It happened yesterday.
We ain't some who do it to cause watch channel so mammy and so jembre. That's an so bad in the Dumbi Edomiania. Unia, the best sign Asia.